Hey guys, Aaron here. I've got a watch to show you today. Um, I'm in the process of sort of working on kind of an article that is the culmination of some thoughts on micro brand watches. From one reason or another, my collection has turned into very largely micro brand based. I also have a Monta Triumph that I just got in that I really like, and these are my personal watches too. This Oak and Oscar and the Monta. This is a review sample, but I just there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the micro brand community right now, and I think that it's at least worth considering and looking at when you're considering purchasing a watch. So but today we're talking about the Greg Stevens. This is the GSD-2A. About a year ago, I had the opportunity to review the GSD-1A. The 1A is his aviator style. This is his diver style. And I just wanted to. I wrote a review for Gearzite, and it will be in the link below. But also wanted to do a video review as kind of a culmination of my thoughts, just to have sort of the discussion with it. So this is a big watch. Just like the GSD-1A, Greg is making very large style watches. Kind of his vocabulary in watches comes from his personal taste, wearing larger watches. He made his name building straps for Panerais. So that is where a lot of his design vocabulary, like I said before, is coming from. But he has slowly been refining his designs over time, trimming them a little bit, and I think that we've got a really well refined piece at this point, and I'm looking forward to what he is doing next. But the GSD-2A is a 44 millimeter case with a 52-ish millimeter lug to lug, and we're at just under 15 millimeters thick. The watch weighs 5.3 ounces on the leather strap as pictured, and we've got a 24 millimeter lug. So big, thick straps, but they wear well. I have a 7 1/4 inch wrist. Let me put this on really quick, and I think that it fits me fine. I would happily wear this watch. I think that if your wrist was any smaller than this, you might run into some lug to lug fit issues. And I think that even on my wrist, I'm just barely like kind of sneaking in there. But all things being said and done, I do think that it fits well and it is comfortable to wear. And you can see his big kind of like chunky Panerai-esque style strap that he has going on. So the GSD-2A is, like I said, powered by. Oh no, I did not say it. It is powered by a Miyota 9015, which I think is kind of an interesting choice for Greg to make. It's what he has used on his previous watches. True kind of like watch aficionado, watch connoisseurs are going to have problems with the fact that we're not using a Swiss movement in these. But based on my experience with Miyotas, in let me think Halios and a couple of other micro brands, including the previous watch from Greg that I reviewed. I have not had a huge problem with them. I do think that they keep good time, and I think that they're a very nice serviceable movement. I have found all the examples that I have handled and kind of come in contact with to be very reliable watches. So I like the choice for this. I think that it keeps the price right where it needs to be. So all in all, I'm all about it. So we have a brushed steel case here. It is pretty simplistic in its finishing. There aren't any like polished bevels really or anything like that. But it does boast a 30 atmosphere or 300 meter depth resistance or depth, rating, which is great. This is a true diver watch. This is something you could throw on a NATO and actually dive with, which I think is cool. This particular version, speaking about it being a diver, is equipped with a 12-hour bezel. What that's more primarily used for is you can offset the hour here. So if I put 2 up there, then you will see that now along the hour track, I missed one click with that too, but now along the hour track you could track a different time zone. And then if you wanted to time something using a 12-hour bezel, all you would need to do is multiply by 5. So you can see 5, 10, 15, 20 as you go around. So cool functionality, kind of a faux GMT. Definitely a way to track another time zone as long as you're comfortable determining whether it's AM or PM. So while this is a diver watch, you do not have a dive bezel, so that changes the functionality of it a little bit. but I do think that in day-to-day casual wear, desk diver wear, it's super functional. I also really like that kind of red triangle at noon. Greg has also put the crown at 4 o'clock, which I think is very helpful for a watch with a case size like this. It keeps it from digging into the back of your hand as you wear it. That's something Seikos have been doing for a long time, and I've always been a fan of that. I'm glad that Greg incorporated that here as well. Flipping the watch over, we have a case back that is signed with Greg's logo, and then along the perimeter you can see a bunch of facts. That it's a sapphire crystal, Greg Stevens designs, the GSD-2A, it's a Japanese movement from 9015, the Miota 9015, and then the water resistance rating. Screw down case back, pretty simple, but again, it is showcasing kind of the technology and the design. Speaking of the crystal, it is a boxed sapphire crystal. In profile, it looks a lot like some vintage Rolexes in that kind of top hat crystal style. So it's kind of nice. It does give it a vintagey feel, along with sort of the weathered PVD of the bezel, and just in general, kind of the styling of the watch trends a little on the more vintage side. The dial itself is very nice. He does, let's see if I can get my light here and show it to you. So Greg does do very, very effective superluminova applications here. Big lume plots on the hours, including a double at noon, and the longer ones on the quarter hour. You've got the divided lume plots on the hands, plus the loomed pip on the bezel. All in all, really great, very legible dial. The dial is matte black, and you have just the only markings are his logo, and then let me just double check. Yeah, GSD-2A down at 6 o'clock. So very, very cool. In terms of straps, like I said, it does come on one of Greg's custom straps here. You know, you're able to order it with the strap of your choice, which is cool when you think about value. I mean, Greg's straps cost roughly $150, maybe a little more depending on what leather you choose. So when you factor that into the cost of the watch itself, you're really getting a great value. Excuse me. In addition to that, you also get this really cool case here. It's exactly the size of a USPS flat rate box. I believe he's shipping them with a leather NATO. I'm not a huge fan of leather NATO, so I can't really speak too much about that. And then a strap changing tool. The box is covered by this little felt pad, which I actually really dig because it acts as like a platform that you can lay your watch down on to do any sort of strap changes or anything like that that you might have going on. So just in conclusion, all in all, I think that Greg Stevens is doing some cool work. I think the GSD-2A is a good option for a micro brand if you're looking for sort of a diver style, very Panerai-esque. I hate to keep saying Panerai over and over again, but it's just the one thing that I know really kind of draws as a parallel for Greg. And yeah, I think so. In the pre-order, he was pricing these at $695. I do not know if there will be an adjustment made at the release. And I think that if you look at it and you factor in the $150 strap plus some of the other stuff and just the quality of the manufacturing and the quality of the product itself, there's a lot of value to be had there. That puts it as a peer to some of the Halios watches. And I think that, you know, we're using the same movements. There's comparable construction. I think that you're looking at a good value overall. So anyway, again, I did a full write-up on gearslight.com. There's a link in the description. And if you have any questions or anything like that about the watch in particular, you can comment below, and I will do my best to answer. Thanks a lot, guys.